Hey guys, it's Rachel Castile. Welcome to Typology Corner. Today I'm going to talk about Enneagram Type 4 today. So just an overview video. I'm going to kind of get into the subtypes, the wings, and yeah, my goal is just to capture the heart of them, of what they're going through and what they look like in health and in unhealth. So starting out, they are in the heart triad, which are the types that are struggling with the emotion of shame and the experience of like, who am I, wanting to um, discover what makes them valuable, looking into their worth, trying to find meaning on a heart level. And how type 4 does this, they go internal, they withdraw into their emotional world and kind of make sense of their emotions, trying to navigate their identity, like who are they, by looking into what they're experiencing and kind of analyzing their emotions, exploring that world of feeling, to find what resonates and what is the most like true thing that makes them who they are. And in childhood, they struggle to see themselves like mirrored in either parent, so they feel that they weren't fully seen for who they are or acknowledged for like the depths of really what makes them them. So they kind of feel flawed or like something's missing. A feeling that uh, that they need to solve that for themselves, like that feeling of something's missing in me. Others have something that I don't have, and they kind of take full responsibility to try to answer that. And yeah, they feel the most defined by the shame of the heart triad. So they really take on the shame a bit more, depending on the subtype that manifests a little bit differently, how conscious they are of it. But like the shame is something that they're navigating and trying to answer that question in their soul of like, what's wrong with me? What's missing? There's something I'm lacking, and I want to find it. And as a byproduct of that, it makes them self-conscious. They begin to be kind of self-absorbed, kind of wanting to find somebody that would rescue them out of this, and things just kind of not measuring up in a sense that they can be self-indulgent, kind of like escape into pleasures. Um, yeah, they have an affinity to melancholy. This isn't all states, but this is kind of the average to unhealthy sort of place that a type 4 can find themselves in. So, yeah, that's kind of a core thing for them. Now I'm going to get into the core motivations. This is their core fear, core desire, core weakness, and core longing. So the core fear of the 4 is being inadequate, emotionally cut off, plain, mundane, defective, flawed, or insignificant. They fear that, they avoid that. So they are trying to find significance through kind of trying on things for size, for like what feels authentic to them. Authenticity is a big deal for type 4s. So yeah, they can kind of explore identities in a sense, or they have a vivid imagination. They're very, very creative types naturally. So you can almost see like them in trying to solve this for themselves, going inward, being in the world of their emotions. They can kind of use their imagination to build an identity of who they think they are, of what they identify with, and they can kind of create an image of being different in a sense. The more they're exploring this, the more different they feel from others. And it kind of started from feeling different in the beginning. But yeah, they can kind of build an ideal self inside their mind of who they are, and live by that as their identity, and kind of differentiating themselves from others can kind of come out of this. And that's not a bad thing. It's just if this emotional kind of pain underneath is driving this, it's not a healthy thing for a four, because it can kind of keep them from acknowledging their innate value and worth at rest without having to embellish in a sense. So, yeah, the shame can lead them to create an identity in a sense. This is a commonality for the three types that are in the heart triad. Type 2 does this in their own way. Type 3 does it in a different way. And then type 4, they all have their own strategy of answering the who am I? What makes me valuable? What makes me have worth, you know? And yeah, type 4 is doing it, just exploring that and living in such a way that they are unique, that they, don't follow the crowd. They kind of, they're wanting to stay true to what's authentic. And that's a core thing for them. So getting to their core desire, it's being unique, special, and authentic. Another way of saying it, to find themselves, this is their desire to find themselves and their significance, to create an identity out of their inner experience. Again, the self-reflection emotionally, to find and to navigate that heart question of theirs. So, yeah. Now on to their core weakness. It's also called the vice of the type. And that is envy for type 4. Feeling that you're tragically flawed, that something foundational is missing inside of you and others possess qualities you lack. Let's see. Yearning and longing, looking at others' lives and coveting what others have, feeling deprived, seeing flaws in the self and thinking that others have it better. You could almost see this as this is just the weakness of their soul, something that they struggle with their whole life until they really come to a place of being at rest in a truth that heals them from that pain, essentially, that the lie of shame and rejection, in a sense, that they can be freed from comparison and can just rest and be calm, be even keeled. They call it like the path from envy to equanimity, just an even temper, being calm, relaxed, not moved by many things. That's when they're free from this ever kind of tormenting thought of if somebody else is doing well, there's like the comparison of, look, it just reaffirms that I'm missing something that others have, in a sense. Again, depending on the subtype, this is conscious in some and in others not so much. It's kind of pushed down, or it's displaced and shows up in a different kind of way, how they manage that. But so onto the core longing. The core longing is the message that their heart is longing to hear, that truth that will set them free. This is the message they feel like they didn't really grasp in their childhood. And in their heart really beginning to believe it, it sets them free. It allows them to be at rest, to join, to be present, to begin to recognize their real value, their real worth, instead of creating an identity they think makes them valuable that's still somewhat not their truest self. So that core longing message is you are seen and loved for exactly who you are, special and unique. Yeah. The weakness of looking at others having something they don't have, they miss the reality of how special and unique they are already. That's kind of the core thing. That when they break free from that, their heart begins to heal. They begin to know and receive love, and the shame goes away. Yeah. Let's see. So the super ego message, this is kind of what's going on in them at all times within this coping strategy, is you are good and okay if you are true to yourself. So it's like, I got to be me. I got to stay true to me. I got to be authentic. And whatever that list of things is for them, that is an identity piece for them. They will hang on to that. And that's what authentic is. So yeah. Now the ego fixation. So this has been described, I guess, in comparison to the weakness. The weakness is something that's just kind of, they keep falling to, in a sense. But the ego fixation is more a fixation of mind. This is what they find themselves, like a pattern of mind that they're stuck in, and it's melancholy. So that's still an emotion, but their mind is set on the emotion of sadness or longing, a longing for something that they feel would be the answer. So it's kind of can have them looking like the grass is greener on the other side kind of place. And then there's a sadness kind of attached to that from the lack of having that. That can kind of, they can be comfortable in that place. That's a bit of a meditation of mind, is melancholy. So some type quotes for type 4. These are things that they could say in the range, different, the full range of health. Some of these are positive things. Some of these kind of exhibit when they're struggling. But I'm the only one who feels this way, and no one else can really understand. No one understands me. I do what I want to do when I want to do it. I have a secret self that no one else knows. People are so cruel and insensitive to me. Everyone lets me down. I've got to be me. So yeah, you hear that authenticity all throughout that, and then them not feeling seen all the way. Maybe on a surface level, but kind of like people don't really know me kind of thing. But yeah, the childhood message that they believed that played a big part in the coping strategy forming is it's not okay to be too functional or too happy. That being normal was not something they felt that they could be, that they were not like everybody else. I can't just blend in. I can't be as happy. I can't enjoy the laughs as much, kind of thing. Yeah. That something's different about me, basically. And yeah, I can't fully just merge in all the way. So yeah, their desire to be oneself, it deteriorates into self-indulgence. This is kind of the byproduct of this feeling flawed. That pure desire to be authentic becomes self-indulgence. And because of the emotions, they can just easily kind of give themselves permission to escape into self-indulgence, kind of self-absorption, just something to make them feel better or to kind of ride the wave of the emotion a little bit. Can be something they can just like give themselves to easily. But yeah, let's see. They feel their own emotions with depth. They are focused on being themselves and authentic, fixated on having a unique image, and being seen as special at their core. So, just a bit more on the childhood because I really like to highlight that. Here's something from Beth McCord on childhood messages. While a type 4 child was growing up, there was a constant message that was playing inside of them. This message was either directly or indirectly communicated to them by a parent or authority figure. This message greatly shaped how they responded to life. It's not okay to be too much or not enough. While a child, they longed and strived to hear, you are loved and seen for who you are. But they feel that they didn't fully hear that. So yeah, I'm kind of reiterating it, but yeah, that is that truth that heals their heart. To live from that truth, it sets them free, and they begin to live free to live in their creativity, to express their creativity, to take that same self-awareness that they have of their emotional landscape, how do I call that? Self-consciousness. I guess they can be very self-conscious to a fault, but in health, that same self-consciousness, that self-awareness can lead to amazing creations of art. They are just very in tune with the human soul, the human experience. And when they do make something, it's like from their essence. It's like from who they are turned into something that other people can benefit from. If that's writing, poetry, painting, music, art, all kinds of art, makeup, like all these forms of expression. Type fours really thrive in like actually creating something that is original. When I think of, creativity, it's like making something out of nothing, like out of the imagination. They just are incredibly intuitive. They're intuitive emotionally, but also just that raw creativity. They can pull from like such depths that they have, like that depth of emotion, that depth of just humanity, and can speak to the souls of other people. And even from being that like sensitive to their own experience, they are sensitive to the experiences of others. Type 2 is known to be like the most focused on others, like emotional experience. So it is different as a 4, but in a sense, there's compassion, I believe, because of how aware of their own experience. I think they honor that reality for other people too. So in that way, it's more, I think it might be empathy. I get empathy and sympathy mixed up, but yeah, it's the awareness of the human experience, of giving that like common courtesy or speaking to that. So it's like the more healthy they are when they express, it's like revelatory for other people, that kind of unlocks something in others. It's like they're uncovering certain realities about humanity, and it just speaks to the same depth in the other person. So that's something that healthy fours can amazingly bring to society, to culture, to bring voice, I think, or give voice to kind of unspoken things that really resonates with other people. There's something else I was going to say about healthy fours that I kind of lost just now. But yeah, that's really beautiful. And yeah, at their best, they are really artistic. I think the word artist really fits type fours as just innately an artist because of their originality. They are called the individualists. So just they've always noticed they were different. They've then differentiated themselves from others even more. But in health, they still exhibit the value of being unique, of staying true to self. And I feel like that's incredibly valuable to the people around them. And yeah, I honor that. So moving into average, I've kind of described average already, but average is struggling with comparison a lot. Envy, jealousy, other people have it better. I'm missing out in a sense. And becoming self-absorbed instead of being able to create. Think of creativity and releasing it, that others benefit from it. Like people can benefit from the depths that the healthy ones walk in, and it helps others. But I think you're getting into average, they're starting to express just purely their emotional state almost, and people can just like feel their emotion and know like they're kind of talking from a not so good place. So it's like they're being heard, but it's just an overflow of the self-absorption, and it's not really solving or pulling them out of that rut. Their expression can be a bit it's expressing pain more than it is healing, having a healing effect on other people. So that's just, it's understandable. Those that need to be healed can't heal other people, but they can help other people know that it's okay to express yourself and to tell the truth of the state that your soul is in. So I think that still has a lot of value. Um, but yeah, just showing the spectrum of the healed, the healthy, down into the kind of descent. So now moving on to unhealthy, when we're getting where the imagination is self-serving at this point and it's not really setting them free. I'll read this. Fours have become so desperate to be the individual of theur fantasies that they hate everything about themselves that does not correspond to it. They loathe themselves and hate others for failing to save them. They may sabotage whatever good is left in their lives. Yeah, this is the over identifying with the imagination, the imaginary identity almost, right? And so the more they lean into that, the more they don't like their actual self. And then yeah, the frustration, the envy, the jealousy, and then others not coming to their rescue. It's just kind of stacking up at this point, and they find it hard to really move forward in their own life because these things are kind of throwing them off. Yeah. When they're feeling kind of mundane in a sense, like going back, the core fears is being inadequate, emotionally cut off, plain, mundane, defective, flawed, insignificant. So that's constantly getting reaffirmed to them, and they're running from that. So they run deeper into the imagination, deeper into the emotions, and yeah, they just have to kind of bring that into the light and take a step back, begin to believe truth about themselves, to start receiving that, to heal that shame, and to let all that go. And then they can start to use those abilities in a much more positive way. Yeah, so that's the full spectrum. Now let's move on to the variety of, let's do the wings, and then I'll get on to the subtypes, the instinctual subtypes. So 4 is next to 3 and next to 5. So you can have a 4-wing 3, which is called the aristocrat, and then the 4-wing 5 is called the bohemian. So I'm going to contrast these two a bit. So the 4 with the 3-wing is more extroverted, because 3 is an outward focused, more direct, assertive kind of personality, ambitious type. So mixing these two together, you have the withdrawn 4 mixing with the aggressive. I don't know if I think assertive is the right word. Assertive, not aggressive. The assertive 3. So you have a bit of a conflict. That 4 is focused on authenticity, and 3 is more about accolades, accomplishments, ambition, validation from the world outside of them, getting things done, being successful in an outward sense. While 4 is more about authenticity, staying true to their emotions. But this kind of takes on a more charming, interpersonal kind of person who's more emotionally aware of others, and the word aristocrat kind of fits that. So I'm going to read off some notes around that. So in general, they are considered that they have refined taste, emotionally vivid and buoyant, extroverted, upbeat, goal-oriented, and interpersonal. When struggling, they are more consumed with what others think of them, envying what others have that they feel they lack. They're more emotional. They have more emotional fluctuations. The inspiring quality of them, I'm getting this from Beth McCord's course that I'm certified in. So she has a lot of really good information on the types. Inspiring quality, making their own unique mark on the world with their creativity, originality, and ambition. So yeah, you can just think like they are much more like wanting to accomplish something externally and be admired for it in a sense. So more ambitious, but the core of type 4 is that original creativity, and then really doing something socially out in the world that gets them some external acknowledgement for what they've done as well. The type 3 wing is more inclined towards that. And let's see. Now on to type 4 with a 5 wing, the bohemian. These are two withdrawn types. 4 and 5 are withdrawn. So those go together. So this is a more introverted type. They are focused on their emotions and then focused on preserving themselves too. Like the avarice of type 5 is like holding on to what you have for fear of running out, sort of thing. So it's like managing your energy levels, making sure that you don't get depleted by the environment that you're in. That comes from 5. And then type 4 is, withdrawing into their emotions, into kind of answering their identity questions. Who am I, to some degree, protecting their emotions. So yeah, there's like a intellectual quality about them, that they're very thoughtful and kind of more intuitive intellectually. More introverted, less concerned about what people think. They are said to be like fiercely independent, that this is a very, very independent type. Because they're not focused on measuring themselves by the outside world. They do struggle with the comparison of type 4, the envy, but it's not trying to keep up with the Joneses type of thing. So yeah, they know what they think and they live by it in a sense. So I will now read off some of the notes on it. So in general, intellectually deep, creative, original, introverted, isolated, less ambitious, and less concerned with what others think. When struggling, they are more withdrawn, fiercely independent, and consumed by their emotional and intellectual worlds. Must sort out their emotions by using intellect before they can move forward. Their inspiring quality is they are remarkably creative, unusual, mysterious, and eccentric. They combine intellectual insights with emotional intuition to produce stunning, original works. Both of these types withdraw from others. So, yeah. So a big contrast. And that's, I think it's good to see the variety that, in being a 4, if this is your type or you're trying to navigate what is your type, hearing this different manifestations is really cool, because there really is a wide range of every type. But it's looking at the core motivations, if that really resonates. Is that the storyline that's been happening throughout your life? Depending on, you can be ranges of health within that too, but that's how you really find your type. So now the next big variation is the instinctual variant. So we have a sexual 1-to-1 type 4, we have a self-preservation type 4, and then a social type 4. And this is basically, you'll see how the envy shows up totally differently, whether how conscious it is, how expressed it is. So starting off with self-preservation, some words for them is dauntless, tenacious, and contained. So I'm going to read a bit. This is from EnneagramProfiling.com. So this is what they've said about them. This subtype is known as the long-suffering type 4. They tend to play out the drama associated with type 4 internally. Their envy is focused on on that which supports bodily survival and the sense of disconnection from all that supports life, such that they need to work to secure it. So yeah, there's an element of them being more like self-preserving. That's the nature of all self-preserving types. But they kind of take on their suffering and just like get through it. They deal with it. They're less like expressing the envy. It's just, this is kind of something that they're bearing. They're said to be more like humanitarian and focusing on the sufferings of others because of how aware they are of their own suffering, that they go to kind of alleviate the pain in the world that others are having, and they don't really want to draw much attention to their pain directly, but they're aware of it in a sense. But yeah, they another line that they said here is this: they test and challenge themselves, but they express a need to be light. As the sunny subtype of 4, they have a need for fun and playfulness as an escape from having to tough things out all of the time. So kind of keeping things upbeat, wanting to lift others up because they're so aware of just the suffering in the world, the suffering of others, and wanting to just add value to other people because of it. So yeah, the envy is more hidden. It might be something that they could kind of confide in you and be like, you know what, actually I'm kind of struggling with this. I deal with this a lot, but it kind of spills out differently. They're self-preserving and then preserving of others as well. So I can kind of see this as a type 2 self-preserving type. It shows up a little bit differently, but yeah, it causes a 2 to take care of others, their practical needs and stuff. Yeah. So moving on to the sexual subtype. These 4s, they are, let me actually say, I have a chart here. I got a lot of charts and stuff. But 3 words for them is competition, hatred, and idolatry. So this is said to be the most competitive type on all of the Enneagram. Actually, it just came to mind back on the self-pres type. They are the counter type. So on each Enneagram type, there's one type that shows up differently. They're kind of going against the vice or how they show up. So as you can tell, it's like the envy kind of pushed down. They don't look like the other 4s. Now this one, they are the most competitive. They are said to be shameless instead of shameful. So they like go they behave in such a way like they're not ashamed, but the shame is still feeling their competitiveness. Them trying to kind of prove something to themselves, prove something to the world, that they're not ashamed, but it's there. So yeah, it can be filled by self-hatred, hatred of others in a sense of competing. But yeah, I'll read some of what they've said about them. So these 4s don't feel consciously envious so much as they feel competitive as a way of muting the pain associated with envy. If they can compete against another person they perceive as having more than they do and win, they can feel better about themselves. Envy is displaced onto whatever threatens to show up their own shortcomings. It can sometimes take the form of competing with themselves against their inner ideal and knowing they are bound to lose. Let's see. But yeah, this can be a vicious cycle when being demanding leads to rejection and protest leads to further separation. In line with their natural intensity, these individuals tend to be more present and available in relationships because they don't deny or avoid many of the factors that can inhibit others relationally, like anger, neediness, competitiveness, arrogance, and having to be liked all of the time. So yeah, they're shameless. They just push into things basically. This type is said to be easily mistaken as a type 8 with the competitiveness, but it's coming from a different place. It's coming from a place of shame than just like being powerful and not wanting to be weak. That is more characteristic of a type 8. So yeah, that's the sexual or 1-to-1 type. Moving on to the social subtype. The social, I would say, is more true to the archetype of type 4, where the envy is more expressed. yeah, this is a type that is more aware of everybody else and dealing with the envy and expressing it, and yeah, like a dissatisfaction sort of reality for them. So 3 words for them is shame, honor. It's actually 4 words: shame, honor, and rejected elitist. Um, this is let's see. I don't even know how to say her name all the way. Catherine. It's like let's see, Favre or something. There's a lady who talks about the tri-types, and I can't say her last name, but it's a chart that she has on all of the instinctual variants and characteristics of all of them. But yeah, so shame, honor, and elitist. So you'll hear how that comes out. I'm going to read now a description on them. Envy motivates social fours to focus on their emotional dissatisfaction and inner lack. For the social fours, there is a sense of comfort and familiarity in suffering, the sweet sadness of poetry, the rich meaning and painful beauty in melancholic music, and an unconscious hope that their suffering will somehow redeem them. They feel things deeply. For this four, there is a desire to be witnessed and seen in their suffering. Envy fuels a focus on shame and suffering by providing a source of pain. A feeling that others have what the four wants. They believe that their suffering is also what makes them unique and special. There is a kind of seduction of others through suffering. They want to be seen and accepted for who they are. They are not competitive, but do compare themselves with others and feel personally responsible for any area where they feel they are lacking. Yeah, so they theoretically are the most consumed by it, and others will see that they, as it said, they're identifying by the suffering as what makes them unique. And so being authentic and expressing themselves becomes expressing their pain. And yeah, that's not always productive. I think it's good getting it in the light, but yeah, there is definitely hope for fours that are in this place. And I think the social four will be a very vocal person in health. Yeah, vocal and works of art and deep expression. I think it's beautiful. But yeah, this is kind of the average to unhealthy expression of the social subtype here. So, but yeah, guys, that is about it for type 4. That is kind of the full spectrum of you guys. I hope this has been valuable to you, helpful, and insightful in some way to help you navigate your journey and to see what is up from down, I guess, like how to move in a positive direction. So yeah, guys, if you got value out of this, go and give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. If you got any feedback for me, anything that you're like, I don't know about that, or just something that's unclear, feel free to leave a comment. I'm learning and I want to learn more, and I want to really capture the core of each type accurately, and know that it speaks to those that truly are fours in a way that resonates. So yes, I appreciate your feedback. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And I will see y'all on the next one. Take care.